Everyone thought he was just a lonely loser, but little did they know, this man would become the strongest demon hunter alive, after forging a pact with a demon girl, who also just happens to be his wife. Meet Shu, a pathetic, broke-ass man who lives in a society crawling with monsters called demon hazards. When Shu was just a kid, his entire family got wiped out by one of these demons from the hood. And of course, the government, being the government, covered it up as an accident, just so people wouldn't panic. From that day forward, Shu swore he'd become a demon hunter. The problem? He fights like the Avengers on discount mode, completely ignoring the destruction around him. So every time he gets paid, the government just deducts all the damages from his account, leaving him broke, homeless, and jobless again. One day, while trying to survive his broke life, Shu ends up in a restaurant with his old friend Ayano, who, let's be honest, he probably smashed back in the day. Since he can't even afford lunch, Ayano covers the bill and tells him to stop living like a bum and get a real job. Of course, Shu does what every man in that situation does: change the subject faster than me when my girlfriend brings up marriage. After escaping that awkward lunch, Shu goes home where he's greeted by the beautiful Kisara. But here's the twist: Kisara isn't human. She's a powerful demon hazard who forged a contract with Shu. She set up a candlelight dinner for him, but not because she's romantic. Nope. It's just because his broke ass couldn't pay the electricity bill again. After dinner, Kisara blueballs him, because apparently being unemployed doesn't turn women on. Motivated, Shu decides he needs to land a real gig, fast. The next day, he logs into a shady online program and joins a virtual meeting. Here, he meets other demon-hunting companies, like Fatty Lowly and Bald Guy. These dudes basically act like demon pimps, auctioning off demon-killing jobs to the lowest bidder. The auctioneer shows footage of a Class C demon and asks the companies to bid. Whoever agrees to take down the demon for the least amount of money gets the job. And, of course, Shu, being the broke genius he is, undercuts everyone by more than 50%. Congrats, my guy. You got the contract. You also pissed off every other company in the room. Since Shu can't fight alone, he contacts Ayano's mother, who owns a private military company. After some painful negotiations, aka selling his soul for a high price, he gets her backup. Shu and Ayano meet near the hotel where the demon is hiding. They roll in with some soldiers. But the second they approach the door, the demon blows it wide open. Instant chaos. The demon summons a swarm of minions, basically an army of creeps that look like the dudes who won't stop DMing my girlfriend. Shu and Ayano start mowing them down, while Shu sneaks in to shoot the demon in the back. Of course, his cheap trick doesn't work. The demon tanks the hit, smashes him aside, and nearly finishes him off. But before he can die, Kisara arrives like a Jewish doctor with lightning-fast surgery, cutting off the demon's arm and saving Shu's life. The demon summons even more minions, but Kisara makes quick work of them. She charges at the demon with her sword but gets blasted away. Crawling back near Shu, she admits she hasn't been able to use her true power in 3 months. Here's the kicker. According to their contract, written by some incel somewhere, Kisara can only unleash her full strength if Shu kisses her. So he does. And boom, she transforms into an overpowered goddess of destruction. Now she's wiping out minions left and right. But of course this creates some drama. Ayano sees her kiss Shu and immediately calls her a skank. The two start trading insults and before long they're throwing hands. Ayano shoots, Kisara slashes, both dodging and countering like it's Mortal Kombat. And while Shu should be focusing on the actual demon, he's stuck babysitting these two women before they kill each other. In the end, Kisara gets mad at Shu too, accusing him of liking Ayano's assets more. So, she goes full yandere and starts attacking him. To calm her down, Shu does the smartest thing any broke man can do. He hands her his apartment key. Boom. Problem solved. Gold digger happy. Refocused, Kisara charges the demon again, slaughtering minions with ease. This time she and Ayano work together. Ayano slashes first, Shu follows up with his gun, and finally, they kill the demon. The next morning, Shu wakes up to Kisara's homemade breakfast. Unfortunately, it's just some basic trash food, like noodles and burnt eggs. While he suffers through it, he notices Kisara on a laptop. Turns out she's trying to manage their finances because, thanks to Shu's dumbass, all the money they just earned is gone. collateral damage strikes again, making them broke once again. Kisara finally loses it and tells Shu that from now on he'll be her personal photographer. Yeah, you heard that right. His job is to take pictures of her feet so she can post them on Feet Finder and maybe finally pay the bills. So, while she's out there hustling, he just sits there like a cuck, doing absolutely nothing. After roasting him, Kisara storms out of the house to look for part-time gigs, basically foot modeling jobs. At the train station, she meets some of her friends who instantly clown on Shu for being broke and useless. But Kisara defends him, saying he's her photographer and will help her rise to fame, just like any other Ethot's sidekick. Then, out of nowhere, a blonde rich boy named Mikhail shows up. He's not just the president of the student council, he's also the mayor's son. And, plot twist, he's also a massive simp for Kisara. He invites her to his dad's big political party that evening at the town hall. But Kisara, being the queen she is, doesn't even respond. She just walks away, because she doesn't talk to beta simps. Meanwhile, Shu heads to the gym to find Ayano, who's working out. Unlike my ex who looked like a sleepy koala, Ayano actually puts in the work. Shu starts pestering her, begging her to get him a job or at least talk to her mom, the MILF president of the demon hunting company. But Ayano shuts him down, saying his destructive fighting style always ruins the company's reputation. Shu begs even harder, promising not to stalk her anymore. Reluctantly, she considers helping him, because deep down, she still has some leftover feelings. But just as she's about to call her mom, she sees a fresh post from Kisara's account, posing with Shu for her fansly audience. Ayano snaps instantly and tells Shu to get lost. That evening, Ayano's mom gets approached by the mayor's secretary. They suspect there's going to be an assassination attempt on the mayor, possibly by a demon. So they request her company's help in keeping the mayor safe during the town hall event. She's reluctant at first, because she only supports her lord and savior Trump, but agrees anyway. She sends Shu and Kisara alongside Ayano and her squad to guard the event. During the party, Shu is stuck standing guard in some random hallway where he's approached by Miles, the bald dude who practically raised him after his parents died. They chat a little about demons, while Miles offers him a black market cigarette and tells him to visit the hood again. The old gang still misses him. But Shu only cares about chain smoking, so he asks for more cigarettes instead. Meanwhile, Kisara is inside the glamorous party, living her best life. The sight of so much food makes her eyes sparkle, and she even pulls out a Tupperware from nowhere, plotting to sneak some leftovers home. Before she can stash any food, Mikhail shows up again. He starts bragging about how much money he's donated to her streams, trying way too hard to impress her. Thankfully, the mayor begins his speech before Mikhail can say anything more cringe. The broadcast goes live across the entire city, as the mayor talks the usual political nonsense: equality, jobs, better life quality, blah blah blah. He even claims there are more than 2 genders, which instantly pisses Shu off, since like any sane man, he knows there are only 2. Turns out, Shu isn't the only one angry about this. A demon watching the speech is also triggered by the mayor's new pronoun policies. So, in classic Sigma male fashion, he decides to assassinate the mayor live on TV to prove a point. Now normally, when a person transforms into a demon, they lose their humanity. But this one is different. He keeps his mind, his ability to talk, and his edgy attitude. He phases through a wall behind the mayor and is about to stab him from behind when Kisara spots him. She instantly pounces, wrapping him in a chokehold people would easily pay top dollar for. The demon, caught off guard, gets slammed into a pillar where Ayano and her squad immediately open fire. Ayano orders her team to lock down the venue while the demon tries to make a run for it. Ayano chases after him, but her dress gets caught, so she just shoots it in half like a total girl boss and sprints after him in heels. Mad respect. The demon phases through walls, but Kisara matches him, cutting him off at every turn. He dodges her attacks, blocks bullets, and then disappears through the floor. Unfortunately for him, Ayano is already waiting below. She shoots him in the head twice, dropping him to the ground. But the demon gets back up again, phases behind her, and goes for the kill, only to be kicked away by Kisara. Ayano whirls around, gun pointed at his head, but the demon suddenly starts talking, and instead of attacking, he begins ranting, claiming they need to expose the mayor as nothing more than a degenerate furry, which makes Ayano freeze, realizing that this demon still retains its humanity. Taking advantage of her momentary hesitation, the demon phases downward once again. Kisara gets furious at Ayano for letting it escape, while Shu, the so-called useless loser, finally hears the commotion and dives through a window, attacking the demon in one of the server rooms. Kisara arrives shortly after, and together they corner the creature, ready to finish it off. But just then, Shu receives a call from Ayano's mother, the company president. She orders him not to kill it, explaining that the demon still possesses a human brain and must be captured alive at all costs. That creates a huge problem, since none of them have the proper weapons to capture a demon. They've only ever killed them, never restrained one. Kisara suggests trying to hit the demon with the back of her sword, but admits it's risky. Shu, in his usual fashion, jumps online and starts browsing non-lethal weapons on Amazon. Kisara stops him, pointing out that the equipment costs almost as much as what they'll earn from this mission, so what's the point? The two bicker while the demon seizes an opening and leaps out of the building. Shu and Kisara rush to the window, watching it flee. Kisara warns that if he buys the gadgets, he'll be stuck eating garbage for the next month. Shu, however, smirks, places the order anyway, and tells her he'll just take more saucy pictures of her for Instagram. Bezos comes in clutch with super fast delivery, and just as the demon hits the ground, a truck arrives and slams right into it, knocking the monster out cold. Shu descends, and from the truck steps a strong, independent woman who hands him the capture device, which he no longer even needs. The demon is secured on a stretcher and taken to the hospital, while Shu and Kisara finally head home. The next day, Shu manages to get his hands on top-secret leaked intel about a Class B demon, one that, as he jokes, looks suspiciously like his ex. Later, he meets Ayano and declares that he's taking the job no matter what, because he desperately needs cash. At the auction, Shu undercuts every other company by a huge margin, infuriating them so much they begin plotting to beat him up. But before the auction ends, the auctioneer halts everything, announcing that the bids are cancelled because of a new development. The caterpillar demon has swallowed a radioactive core meant to power the entire city for a week. Now the mission isn't just to slay it, but to retrieve the core first. Shu doesn't hesitate. He insists he'll still take the job for the same money, shocking everyone since only someone truly broke would accept terms like that. Later that day, Ayano and her team move in to capture the creature, but before they can act, the caterpillar transforms into a massive, hideous demon moth, reminding Shu of his ex with makeup. The beast obliterates the drones, then targets the ground units, tearing them apart one by one. Ayano tries to retreat in her car but is attacked again, while Shu watches helplessly from afar. Finally, Kisara arrives. Shu immediately kisses her, fueling her with the power she needs. By now, the demon has targeted Ayano, and just as a giant boulder is about to crush her, Kisara swoops in, slicing it to pieces, just like Shu's heart. She launches herself at the demon, dodging its attacks with ease before stabbing it in the rear, forcing it to retreat. The ugly moth fires energy blasts, but Kisara evades them and counters relentlessly, slashing through its armored shell. Seizing the chance, Shu whips out his sniper rifle and fires at the exposed wound, staggering the beast. In desperation, the demon gathers a massive energy ray, but Shu reloads, fires again at the exact same spot, and kills it instantly. The following day, Ayano is called to a shipyard where two rival mafia groups have clashed. One gang member has even contracted with a demon, massacring the enemy crew. Entering an abandoned shed, Ayano finds bodies strewn everywhere, survivors badly wounded. She pushes forward until a glint catches her eye, the barrel of a gun. Suddenly, the demon hazard opens fire. She dives for cover, ordering one ally to take the shot with a sniper rifle while another preps a rocket launcher. Launcher fires to bombard the demon, taking it down like a true American strike. The police rush in afterwards, and they capture all of the surviving wounded mafia members. Meanwhile, Miles, the bald officer who works in the department, tells them they were lucky to still be alive, since the demon thankfully wasn't a high-ranking one and so could be killed easily. All of the gang members are then placed into ambulances. She looks around and sees a young man being loaded into one of the ambulances, while his girlfriend cries desperately from the crowd, begging them to let her be with him, but the police keep her away. Shu, on the other hand, is sitting with Kisara, enjoying a candlelight dinner, since his neighborhood has no electricity thanks to the fact that his useless self failed to obtain the core from the demon. Thankfully, at least they have some decent food, since they basically defeated the demon by themselves and can now spend a little extra money. They finish their dinner together, and the very next day, as they prepare to head out, Shu tells Kisara that today they'll go for a luxurious dinner on the expensive side of the city, celebrating her achievement of gaining 10,000 followers on Feet Finder. As soon as they leave, however, a car suddenly pulls over and Mikhail, the spoiled beta simp, steps out, arriving to meet Kisara and try to win her over with his wealth and luxury. But Kisara, being the best girl, remains faithful, unlike your ex-girlfriend, and bluntly tells Mikhail to piss off. Angered, Mikhail begins trash-talking Shu, who pays him no attention. Meanwhile, Kisara notices Ayano walking beside a man dressed in black. Curious, she decides to stalk them like a creep and follows them into a park, where she finds the two speaking with each other. She seizes this opportunity to make Ayano look like a total thought, taking pictures of them together before quickly posting the shots on Instagram. Shu notices the notification right away and rushes over to the park, apologizing to both of them for what Kisara just did. The man greets him and introduces himself as an investigator from the Anti-Demon Bureau, currently working on a mafia case that Ayano is involved in. He also reveals that he has been investigating the demon who killed Shu's family, something Ayano specifically requested him to do. This revelation enrages Shu, who lashes out at Ayano, telling her that she should have consulted him and involved him before making such a decision about hunting his parents' killer. As Shu spirals into one of his emo rants, the investigator suddenly gets a call from the police department. They inform him that Tony, the young man whose girlfriend they had seen crying earlier, has just been murdered inside the hospital. Shu immediately rushes to the hospital and meets with Miles, who reports that by the time he arrived, Tony was already dead, and the killer was nowhere to be found. The investigator asks whether this could have been the work of a demon hazard, but Miles responds that it's highly unlikely, since the weapon used was only a plain knife engraved with the rival mafia gang's logo. He also explains that the attack was extremely bold, carried out in broad daylight, and even recorded on security cameras. By the time evening comes, Shu is waiting for Ayano outside her hotel. He calls her and apologizes for making such a big scene back at the park. He tells her that he believes the demon who tried to assassinate the mayor might be connected to one of the gangs and tries to extract more information from her. But Ayano shuts him down, telling him to go back home. Shu insists that it would be more efficient if they worked together, but Ayano tells him to piss off, scolding him for never considering how others feel about the way he does things, or about how it feels when he constantly puts his life in danger. She forces him to recall a day, a couple of years ago when they were dating. She remembers waiting for him to come home, while he was out chasing a demon hazard all night. But to her shock, Shu looks blank and admits he doesn't remember anything at all. This pushes Ayano over the edge, and she runs away, crying. Meanwhile, the investigator is called to another crime scene, this time involving the mafia gang that had murdered Tony. It seems they have been fighting among themselves. The investigator steps inside and sees that everything has been slashed apart, with multiple gang members lying dead on the floor, blood splattered everywhere. Realizing the danger, he quickly rushes back outside and decides to wait for backup from the specialized demon hunting squad. At the same time, poor Ayano is crying under a bridge when Kisara approaches her. Kisara reveals that she is the one who now possesses all of Shu's memories. She tells Ayano that she and Shu have a contract which allows her to feed on Shu's memories whenever she wants, and that she has been deliberately erasing them. So that he doesn't end up falling back in love with Ayano, she gets annoyed after her talk with Kisara. Ayano realizes that Kisara doesn't actually care about Shu's true feelings and only wants to keep him to herself like some obsessive psycho. Furious, Ayano gets up and storms off into the darkness, telling Kisara never to talk to her again. Meanwhile, Shu feels conflicted and heads out, lighting up while thinking about Ayano's harsh words. Suddenly, an arrow pierces a trash can nearby, startling him. Shu quickly notices a note attached to the arrow. It reveals the location of the gang's headquarters. Without hesitation, he grabs a bike and speeds off toward the spot. When he arrives, he finds police officers already surrounding the place. Ignoring everyone, Shu rushes straight inside with a gun in his hand, looking like a reckless version of Rambo. Inside, he comes across a mysterious woman in a red dress slicing through gang members with a sword. As another thug tries to shoot her, she dodges effortlessly and slits his throat. Shu decides to intervene and starts firing at her like an LAPD cop, but she simply dodges his bullets and flees into the men's bathroom. Shu follows and finds himself surrounded by mirrors, which makes fighting difficult and confusing. Suddenly, the woman appears behind him, moving with unbelievable speed. Shu fires wildly, blasting several mirrors to cut down the illusions. By the time he's done, the woman has already slipped away unnoticed. When Shu exits the bathroom, he sees the investigator has arrived to back him up. They find a badly injured gang member still alive. Shu and the investigator press him for information, asking if Tony's gang has any demon hazards. With his dying breath, the man reveals the truth. The killer wasn't a gang member at all, but Tony's girlfriend. This shocks everyone as they thought it was just gang warfare. Now it's clear this is personal revenge, orchestrated by Tony's lover. Shu quickly realizes she intends to kill everyone involved in the incident that night at the docks, including Ayano. Knowing Ayano is in danger, Shu sends Kisara to protect her. Kisara arrives just in time, saving Ayano's life. Shu himself rushes to the scene with police officers, only to find Ayano injured and Kisara trapped, calling desperately for her stepbrother. Soon after, they piece together how this demon moves. It uses mirrors to teleport between places, making it extremely fast and able to enter any house at will. To keep Ayano safe, Shu sends her to a secure house. He then meets Senior Detective Tetsuya at a restaurant. Tetsuya asks Shu to work with him and promises to track down the demon that slaughtered Shu's family, as well as reveal the truth about demons to the public. Later, Shu visits Ayano at the safe house. He reveals something shocking. He believes his younger sister Kana, who was presumed dead, might still be alive. Ayano is stunned, as Shu has never confided this in anyone before. Drawn to his vulnerable side, Ayano finds herself falling for him even more, though life isn't that simple. That same night, the demon teleports into the shed, destroying everything, even chopping an innocent IKEA couch while searching for Ayano. Kisara also arrives, immediately engaging the demon in a high-speed sword fight. During the battle, Kisara notices Ayano hiding behind a corner. Without warning, she rushes at her and headbutts her to the ground, furiously calling her a home-wrecking snake for trying to steal Shu. Ayano plays innocent, claiming she'd never even touch a guy like Shu, but deep down everyone knows Ayano is drawn to losers like him. Kisara snaps, telling her to shut her mouth or she'll ram her sword down her throat. Meanwhile, the demon smashes all the glass in the shed, terrifying Shu. Suddenly, he feels a blade at his back, but it's Kisara, angry at him. She demands he give her all his energy to finish the fight, sealing it with a forceful kiss. After the kiss, Shu collapses, his memories of the night erased, while Kisara charges at the demon with renewed strength. The demon blocks most of her attacks and counters by sinking through the ground to strike from a new angle. Just as the demon is about to land the final blow, Shu suddenly intervenes, elbowing her back. He even tries to punch her, but she quickly dodges, retreating a step. And as the demon tries to escape by phasing into the wall, Shu reacts quickly. He hurls his anti-demon projectile, which pierces her stomach mid-phase, stopping her in her tracks. Kisara seizes the moment, charging forward and stabbing her in the same wound, finally killing her once and for all. After the battle, Kisara suddenly disappears from Shu's side. Days pass, yet she neither returns nor contacts him. Worried about her well-being, Shu makes several attempts to reach out but gets no response. Distracted but determined, Shu decides to track down the mysterious informant who has been leaking highly classified information. At a busy train station, he waits on a bench as instructed. When the informant arrives, they direct Shu to a trash can containing a tablet. Shu retrieves it, and a video immediately plays, showing a blonde girl brutally fighting against both the police and demon hunting companies. Before Shu can press for details, the informant suddenly bolts. Shu chases after them, but despite his best effort, the informant slips away. Later that day, Shu attends a secret auction meeting where the same mysterious blonde is discussed. Ayano's mother then reveals shocking information. She is part of an ancient European organization that has specialized in eradicating demons worldwide for over 1,000 years. She even claims she was the one who recruited Shu into their cause. Shu is confused, as he has no memory of this supposed connection. On his way home, Shu receives a frantic phone call from Ayano. She screams at him to stay away from his apartment. At first, he thinks she's joking, but her voice trembles with real fear. Realizing the danger, Shu drops his bag, draws his gun, and prepares for trouble. Suddenly, his apartment door bursts open, and an explosive force launches him out of the building. From the smoke emerges the blonde girl. Her name is Sharon. She immediately charges at Shu, trying to crush him. He reaches for his gun, but Sharon pins his arm down with her foot and attacks relentlessly. Shu narrowly dodges her first kick, but she quickly follows up with a punch to his gut, then a brutal kick that sends him flying. Sharon leaps on top of him, hammering his face with repeated blows. Before she can finish him, Kisara suddenly appears, slashing at Sharon with her sword. Sharon evades at the last second, leaping back. From Kisara's reaction, it's clear. She knows Sharon, and more importantly, she fears her. The fight leaves Shu badly injured. He's rushed to a hospital and left unconscious, with both Kisara and Ayano staying by his side. But when Kisara receives a mysterious text revealing a location, she leaves Ayano to watch over him. Kisara arrives at an abandoned building, phone in hand. Sharon calls her directly, taunting her that she is alone. Kisara summons her sword, preparing for battle. Before she can react, a shot rings out. Sharon ambushes her from above. Kisara dives for cover as bullets rain down. Peeking out, she spots Sharon wearing a mechanical combat suit. Sharon fires again, but Kisara blocks most of the shots with her sword before charging forward. However, Sharon's suit unleashes a demonic slime-like substance that lashes out like living tentacles. Kisara tries cutting through it, but one pierces her leg, leaving a wound that refuses to heal. Sharon explains coldly that powerful demons like Kisara cannot be harmed by ordinary human weapons, but against demonic attacks, they are vulnerable. Kisara attempts to retreat, but Sharon blocks her path with more projections. Kisara raises her sword, but Sharon stabs her straight through the torso. Kisara collapses, bleeding and helpless. Just as Sharon closes in to finish her, Shu suddenly appears, hurling a flashbang that blinds Sharon. He drags Kisara behind cover, kissing her passionately to transfer his energy. Shu collapses unconscious, but Kisara rises, her wounds healing and power surging. This time, she moves with overwhelming speed, dodging Sharon's bullets with ease. Kisara charges, slicing through one of Sharon's robotic arms. Sharon counters, but Kisara shields Shu and unleashes a devastating series of strikes, tearing Sharon's armor apart piece by piece. Finally, Kisara drives her sword deep into Sharon's suit, completely destroying it and leaving Sharon unconscious. With the battle over, Kisara takes Shu into her arms. They make it to safety, and as Shu regains his senses, they head back home together. Shu decides he needs answers, so he plans to talk to Sharon about the recent events and understand why she was in the city. Despite his efforts, she remains tight-lipped, revealing nothing significant. Frustrated, Shu prepares to leave the cell when his phone rings. It's Tetsuya. Picking it up, Shu senses the urgency in Tetsuya's voice. The senior detective sounds distressed and instructs him to meet in the parking lot immediately. Before Shu can react further, he hears the sound of a car halting abruptly, followed by a gunshot. Heart pounding, he races to the scene with Kisara and finds Tetsuya slumped over in his car, lifeless. Shu collapses in despair, Tetsuya having been one of the few people determined to uncover the truth behind the murder of Shu's family. In the chaos, they notice a figure sprinting across the lot. Without hesitation, they chase it. Shu quickly recognizes the runner as the informant who had been providing him crucial intelligence, assuming he might be the murderer. After a tense pursuit, they capture the man. Introducing himself, he reveals that he is Mikao, the mayor's son. Shu, demanding to know why Tetsuya was killed, is taken aback when Mikao denies involvement. Instead, he leads them to a hidden facility, revealing an army of operators monitoring citywide CCTV feeds, explaining how Mikao always seems to have perfect information. They review footage of Tetsuya's murder but see only the back of a hooded figure firing the fatal shot, leaving the mystery unresolved. The next day, Shu attends Tetsuya's funeral, his mind heavy with grief. On his way back, he is offered a ride by Miles, an old friend and his foster parent who had sheltered him after his parents' death. During the ride, Shu notices a distinctive tattoo on Miles' forearm and realizes with shock that Miles himself is the killer. Calmly, he confronts him, asking why Tetsuya was murdered. Miles confesses that Tetsuya had uncovered the truth. Apart from Miles, he was the only one with first-hand knowledge of demon activities. To protect the secret and his daughter, Miles felt forced to eliminate Tetsuya. Miles leads Shu to a deserted park, aware that the police are surrounding them. In a startling transformation, he reveals his demonic form. Onlookers open fire, but Miles is protected by an energy shield, impervious to bullets and explosives. Shu turns to Kisara, seeking advice on capturing him alive. She informs him it is impossible. Kisara urges Shu to abandon sentimentality, emphasizing that if Miles is not stopped, countless lives are at risk. Miles lashes out with chains, targeting Ayano and injuring her. Sharon arrives on a motorbike, intervening just in time. She jumps off and launches a relentless assault with her blade-embedded shoes. Miles regenerates quickly and tries to strike her, but Ayano's interference gives Sharon a chance to retreat. Realizing the stakes, Shu grants Kisara permission to eliminate Miles but instructs her to preserve his memories. With a kiss, he channels his energy to her, empowering her to act. Kisara charges, slicing Miles' chains aimed at Sharon and Ayano. He kicks her back, but she recovers, dodging his subsequent attacks and breaking his chains entirely. Miles strikes, but Kisara blocks, only to be launched into the air. She swiftly stabilizes and stabs him from above. He removes her sword and throws her aside, redirecting his assault towards Shu. Anticipating this, Shu shoots him in the head, ending the threat, extracting memories from Miles. Kisara uncovers the truth. In Shu's childhood, Miles had been close to his family. When Miles's daughter fell gravely ill, he remained at her side in the hospital, contacted by the demon Asmodeus. The demon promised her survival in exchange for obedience. That night, Asmodeus assumed the form of Shu's mother, holding Kana hostage, and attempted to kill Shu's father. Miles intervened, arguing the attack violated their agreement, and Asmodeus acquiesced. As Miles carried the unconscious Shu away, an explosion flooded the cave, but ultimately his daughter recovered, and Miles became Shu's foster parent. Returning to the base, Shu and his team regroup. Ayano, Kisara, and Sharon process the revelations, understanding the depth of Miles' sacrifices and the complex web of demon-related conflicts. Despite the devastation, they focus on recovery and rebuilding their strength, knowing that the battles ahead will test their limits further. Shu reflects on the events, aware that trust, sacrifice, and resilience are essential to survive in a world shadowed by demons and human betrayal alike. Sharon was sprawled out on the couch, looking irresistible while munching on a mountain of junk food. Everyone gathered around and started discussing the mystery surrounding Asmodeus and the circumstances of Shu's father's death. Sharon awkwardly pulled out a PowerPoint presentation, showing that throughout history, a demon had been appearing in different forms, always taking the shape of stunning women. Whenever it appeared, hordes of demons followed, leaving complete destruction in their wake. This demon only possessed beautiful young women and always left a peculiar mark behind, evidence that hunters had been tracking the same entity for centuries. Ayano considered that Asmodeus might have appeared in this city 12 years ago, triggering the demon attacks. Her mother disagreed, suggesting that the demons arrived first, drawn to the city's core, and Asmodeus only followed. She insisted that all the secrets lay hidden in a mine that had been destroyed 12 years ago in the middle of the ocean. Determined, Ayano stood up, ready to investigate the ruins of the mine for any clues. She left the room with Shu and Kisara, assuring Shu that they would uncover the truth and find her sister, Kana, no matter what. Shu, however, seemed lost and thanked her before running off. Frustrated and worried, Ayano glared at Kisara, knowing she was the reason Shu was losing his memories. Ayano got into her car and drove through town to pick up her friend Linfa. Linfa, busy and annoyed, asked what Ayano wanted. Showing her photos of the ocean, Ayano explained that the images depicted the general location of the sunken mine. Linfa, understandably confused, told her the area was off-limits to civilians. Ignoring her protests, Ayano drove to a bridge and demanded to know why the government had hidden all this information. When Linfa refused to answer, Ayano drew her gun, pressing for the mine's exact location. Linfa insisted she didn't know. Suddenly, Ayano spotted something in the distance and swerved just in time to dodge a missile. Shocked, she turned to Linfa, accusing her of betrayal, but Linfa looked equally scared and confused. Before they could react further, a blond man with a metal arm crashed into the car, demanding Ayano release Linfa. Meanwhile, a burly man and an afro-haired accomplice in a tank shouted that she was surrounded and that the government had even cornered her mother in their headquarters. The car TV flickered on, revealing Mikhail, who checked if Linfa was okay. Angrily, she scolded him for attacking them, but he retorted that Ayano had kidnapped a government official, a criminal act justifying their response. Linfa quickly played it cool, claiming she was just on a casual drive. Mikhail, unfazed, told Ayano to surrender or risk her mother's safety. Cringing at the absurdity, Ayano began exiting the car, but a massive helicopter funded by the American government suddenly arrived, armed to the teeth. To everyone's shock, Shu was piloting it. Ayano's mother appeared on the TV, urging her to board the helicopter. Ayano hesitated, worried that Shu had lost too many memories. But Shu confidently laid down suppressive fire on the tanks, scaring the attackers away. Her mother reassured her that no matter what Shu had forgotten, his fighting instincts were hardwired into him. Ayano turned to Linfa, who quickly transferred the mine's exact coordinates to Ayano's phone. Grateful, Ayano boarded the chopper with Shu, heading straight toward the mine submerged deep beneath the ocean. Meanwhile, Kisara and Sharon set out on a boat, traveling toward the ocean as well. Kisara reminded Sharon that she couldn't risk Shu's safety any further, but their determination to uncover the truth and confront the demons only grew stronger. Ayano promised she would save Shu's sister herself. Sharon asked for the pen drive containing all the data, and Kisara handed it over. Sharon then showed Kisara that Asmodeus seemed like a failed artist, marking his attacks across the world like logos. She displayed a map of the city, revealing that all previous attacks formed a pattern. This meant the final strike would be near the submerged mine itself. They realized Asmodeus had possessed Shu's mother 16 years ago, and then Shu's sister, Kana. Kisara deduced that Shu was born fully human, but Kana, born while their mother was possessed, was half demon. Sharon quipped about Shu's father's luck, then explained that Asmodeus's ultimate goal was to create a society where humans and demons could coexist. A near impossible dream. Sharon warned that Kana might still be trapped beneath the ocean in the mine, potentially used to open a gateway, summoning a massive demon horde that could wipe out millions. They finally reached the mine and entered its dark caves, moving toward the center. There, they found a girl tied up and unconscious. Kisara couldn't believe her eyes. It was Shu's sister. She reached to touch her, but something felt wrong. Spinning around, she blocked a kick from none other than Sharon herself. Sharon fell back, smiling, while Kisara demanded to know what she was doing. Sharon explained that Kana couldn't be allowed to live, as she might always be a threat. The key to opening the demon portal. Kisara refused, insisting that Kana was Shu's only remaining family and that she wouldn't let anyone hurt her. Meanwhile, Mikhail learned about Asmodeus and the mine's role in opening a portal to the demon world. Without hesitation, he authorized a nuclear strike, priming a satellite for a massive blast. Suddenly, Kana's back began to glow. A huge hand erupted from her back just as the energy beam fired toward the island where Shu and Ayano were approaching in their chopper. Shu shouted, fearing both Kana and Kisara were lost. But when the dust settled, the island remained intact. Mikhail, confused, muttered something about buying nukes from Chinatown. A massive hand erupted from the ground, reaching for the sky. Kisara, in her demon form, carried Sharon while realizing that Asmodeus had taken control of Kana. Small hands began emerging from the giant hand, chasing Kana as she tried to hold on to Sharon. Sharon told Kisara to let her go, jumping down and kicking away any tentacle in her path, descending toward the core. Kisara flew after her at full speed, slashing through tentacles with her sword. Shu grimly told Ayano to hold the controls as he spotted Sharon struggling against the tentacles. She was eventually slammed into the ground. From above, Kisara watched, worried, sword ready. Suddenly, human clones began emerging from the giant hand, including a copy of Kisara herself. As Kisara struggled, a hand grabbed her from behind, and the clone advanced, trying to strangle her. At the last moment, someone shot the clone from behind. It was Shu. Without hesitation, he destroyed the clone, freeing Kisara. He rushed to her, hugging her and insisting she kiss him to regain her energy, claiming he didn't care how many memories she took from him. Kisara began crying, terrified he might forget who he was. Suddenly, she was stabbed from behind. Blood spilled from her stomach as Shu looked in shock, spotting a spear protruding from her body. A portal slowly opened, and the assailant holding the spear was revealed. Shu's sister, Kana herself. Kisara tried to remove the spear, but couldn't. Visions of a younger Shu began flooding her mind. The surroundings glowed as Ayano brought her chopper as close to the massive hand as she could, shouting for them to hold on. Shu, determined to get inside, looked at Kisara and told Ayano that he couldn't leave her alone. Kisara urged him to save himself, but he stubbornly refused to abandon her. Suddenly, Sharon appeared from behind, grabbed Shu by the waist and latched onto the helicopter, leaving Kisara alone. The massive demonic hand vanished into thin air, and Kisara was left impaled in midair, while Kana glared at her angrily. Kisara grabbed the spear again, and memories of Shu flooded her mind. She learned shocking truths about his past which made her furious. With renewed strength, she removed the spear from her body and turned toward Kana, blinded by rage. She was about to strike, but remembered that Kana was Shu's sister. That brief hesitation gave Kana enough time to charge a magical beam, blasting Kisara into the ocean, leaving her unconscious. Shu watched helplessly, dangling from the helicopter. Ayano tried to retreat, but Kana appeared in front of them, priming another magical attack. Ayano shouted that her brother would die if Kana attacked. Kana hesitated, looking at Shu, but then a massive laser engulfed her. Mikhail, observing from afar, had decided to nuke Kana. When the dust cleared, Kana was still floating. Frustrated, Mikhail launched another strike. This time, it seemed to work. Kana's wings disappeared and she fell into the ocean beside Kisara. Ayano and the others rushed Kisara to the hospital. Sharon reported that doctors couldn't detect a heartbeat or brain waves, and even her wounds, which would normally heal quickly for a demon, remained open. Ayano asked if Kisara would ever wake up. Sharon admitted they couldn't conclude anything. She was not human. Ayano asked about Kana. Sharon said satellite data confirmed that Kana had sunk 200 meters into the ocean and was lying still on the seabed. Ayano asked if she was dead. Sharon doubted it. Kana had survived 12 years with a spear in her chest. The laser had only temporarily stopped her. Ayano asked if Kana could ever live like a human again. Sharon explained it depended entirely on whether someone could restore the humanity left inside her. She warned that the church considered Kana an S-ranked demon and would send more agents to eliminate her. Ayano worried, but Sharon believed the city would be destroyed long before any agents could arrive. Meanwhile, Mikhail focused on the city's defenses, planning how to eradicate Kana. His sister, Linfa, reminded him that Kana was still half human and might be saved. Mikhail argued that the risks were too high. If they failed, Kana could destroy the city. The safest solution, he said, was to eliminate the S-ranked demon entirely. Linfa asked if the public knew about the threat. Mikhail said no, he didn't want to cause panic, spreading fake news instead about an underwater volcano. Elsewhere, other demon hunters were busy clearing lower-ranked demons that had emerged due to Kana's presence. They considered taking a break after earning enough money, though some reminded the group that an S-ranked demon still lurked in the ocean. One hunter wanted to leave, claiming he couldn't face an S-ranked demon. Another insisted they defend the city, or it would be destroyed. Most remained hesitant. Shu sat beside Kisara, holding her hand and praying for her recovery. He resolved that nothing in the city was worth fighting for. If Kisara woke up, he would leave with Kisara and escape, never looking back. Miraculously, Kisara regained consciousness. She told Shu she didn't care about anything except him and promised to always keep him safe. Shu immediately hugged her tightly. Sarah tells Shu that he has fought enough and urges him to promise that he will leave the city and never fight demons again. Shu smiles at her and reassures her that they will leave together. However, Kisara shakes her head, insisting that she cannot leave. Shu tells her that she can take all the memories away if it will help her regain her strength and heal. Kisara looks at him, asking if he is truly okay with that, and Shu confirms that he is. Without hesitation, Kisara embraces him in a long, passionate kiss. But instead of losing her memories, Shu begins regaining all of his own. Surprised, he tries to stop her, but she holds him down, continuing to kiss him. Memories from before he met Kisara flood back. Times when he worked alongside Ayano and was in a relationship with her. One morning, he meets Ayano at a restaurant and breaks up with her. Explaining that things between them aren't working out, Ayano asks if it's because she's useless in the kitchen and can't even make a proper sandwich. Even though Shu insists that's not the case, she starts to cry. Shu tells her that together, they are only strong enough to defeat low-rank demons and nothing more, and that he must embark on a journey to discover himself. During his journey, he encounters Sharon, who is also searching for a powerful demon frozen inside a cave. Initially, they clash violently, each ready to kill the other to reach the demon. However, Shu proposes a deal, claiming that he doesn't care about the demon itself but wants the treasure hidden in the cave. They team up and venture inside, where they find Kisara's body, a sword impaled in her chest. Shu takes her from the cave and brings her back to his apartment. There, he draws a magical symbol on the floor and lays Kisara down. Opening an ancient book, he studies the different ways to form a bond between a human and a demon. Eventually, he decides to use memories as payment for Kisara's complete obedience, forming the contract by placing her hand on his head. The ritual succeeds but gives him a terrible headache, causing him to collapse. He rises when he hears Kisara calling him. Shu then returns to the city, intending to use her to eliminate the other demons. From that point, everything changes. Ayano still uses her weak firearms against monsters, while Shu simply draws a magic circle, forging another hourly contract with Kisara in exchange for 3 days' worth of memories. Shu often becomes unconscious, and Kisara is summoned to destroy demons in a single strike. The agency witnesses this, and the next day, Shu earns his solo license as a demon hunter in the city. Ayano comments that he could have worked with her at the agency, but Shu coldly remarks that humans have limits, while demons excel at everything, wounding Ayano emotionally. Still jealous, she asks if he lives with Kisara. Shu admits that he does, and Ayano warns that he will lose himself if he continues forging contracts with a demon. Shu smiles, claiming he has already thought of a foolproof way to exit the contract. At home, he produces a huge book and gives it to Kisara, explaining that making magic circles and hourly contracts is tedious. Using the book, they will remain bound until the contract is cancelled. Shu tells her she can read the terms if she wishes, though most are basic and unremarkable. He informs her that the ritual will begin in 6 hours and leaves. Kisara, ever the diligent reader, studies all the terms. She notices one clause written in microscopic handwriting on the final page. Shu can cancel the contract at any time without her consent. Later that evening, they prepare for the ritual. Kisara enters the magic circle. Shu reminds her that after the ritual, they will be bound until the contract is cancelled and asks if she agrees to start it. She confirms she is ready. As Shu bows, waiting for her to touch his head, Kisara crouches and kisses him on the lips instead. Shu is confused, but Kisara tells him that the contract is now complete. Kisara tells him that to finish the contract she doesn't need to place her hand on his head. There was nothing like that written in the terms. She smiles. Shu bolts for the contract and frantically flips through the pages, only to discover that she has edited his terms. In neat, precise handwriting, she's added that the contract will begin with a kiss, and that every time they kiss, Kisara will be able to unleash all of her powers. Panic spikes in Shu. He worries she might have altered the cancellation clause as well. His fear proves justified. When he turns, Kisara is standing behind him. She's changed the contract again, adding a new clause. The contract can be cancelled only when she wants it to be cancelled. Shu snaps back to reality and grabs her. "What the hell did you do?" he demands. But Kisara has already cancelled the contract. She has lost all of her memories. She looks at him blankly and asks, "Who are you?" Elsewhere, Kana finally awakens from her power nap. She soars above the ocean and fires a massive beam into the distance. The beam strikes an airport, destroying several airplanes. Mikhail scrambles and again tries to hide the truth from the public, that a demon caused the devastation. He orders Ayano's mother released from the jail cell. She is the only person capable of leading troops to defend the city. Back at the hospital, Shu keeps trying to remind Kisara who she is, but she doesn't even remember her own name. Then Shu realizes something incredible. Not only has Kisara returned his memories to him, she has given him some of her own personal memories as well. He pulls her into a tight hug and, voice soft, tells her to stay hidden in the hospital. This time, he will be the one to protect her. He kisses her forehead, takes up her sword, and leaves the room to face her sister. Ayano is already suited up, posted off the coast and ready to confront Kana. Sharon roars up on her motorcycle. For a moment, Ayano brightens, thinking reinforcements have arrived. Instead, Sharon simply tells her she's here to say goodbye. She's leaving the city for good. Meanwhile, Shu orders gear online. Thanks to fast delivery, he's soon in a truck sorting through his new toys. Kana appears near the city. Ayano's mother orders a full barrage. Open fire. Attack helicopters join in, laying down heavy fire and creating a massive smoke cloud. Everyone at headquarters watches, tense, waiting to see the result. When the smoke clears, Kana stands unharmed. She has formed a swirling energy sphere around herself that absorbs every attack. Ayano's mother yells to continue. They must stop this demon from ever setting foot in the city. The army resumes firing, but nothing phases Kana. Calm and untroubled, she absorbs the blows and keeps advancing. Ayano steps up and takes the big guns. She fires a rocket launcher straight at Kana. For a moment, it seems to work. When the smoke clears, Kana's protective shield is gone and she is furious. She locks onto Ayano and charges up a devastating attack. Ayano runs like a cornered child, scrambling behind a tank and narrowly dodging a rain of terrifying energy blasts. The army opens fire again, but Kana flies through their lines, chasing Ayano. When Ayano turns to fire back, her shots do nothing. Then tragedy, Ayano's gun jams. Forced to face Kana alone, she prepares for the worst as the demon powers up a point-blank beam that would shred her. Shu arrives at that exact moment and snatches Ayano out of the blast radius, dragging her to safety while the laser obliterates everything in the immediate area. They collapse onto the roof of a building. Shu tells Ayano he's gotten all his memories back, but Kisara remembers nothing. Ayano asks urgently what they will do now. Shu's answer is grim and simple. They must fight with everything they have and try to reach Kana. Try to get through to her so she can regain control. How? Ayano asks. Without Kisara, we can't reach Kana. We can't let her enter the city, or people will die. Shu says they won't need to lure Kana. She'll come to them. Ayano looks confused until Sharon reappears and declares she will lead Kana to the place. She hates Ayano and any other girl that Shu cares about, and she wants to settle this herself. According to her, Shu and Kana are connected on a spiritual level. While Shu was involved with other girls, Kana was forced to watch, trapped beneath the ocean floor. At the core, she is just a jealous little girl, envious of the girls in her brother's life. But the problem is, this little girl possesses the power to destroy the earth if she wants. Suddenly, Kana bursts through a building in search of Ayano, only to be met with a missile to the face, courtesy of the military who had arrived ahead of her. Furious, she decides to release a horde of demonic beasts upon the soldiers, forcing them to fight her minions while she looks for a way to reach Ayano and Sharon. Unexpectedly, Shu appears in front of her, hovering on his board. Shocked, Kana raises her arm to blast him away, but she can't. Shu begins speaking, telling her he wants to stay together with her. She's his only remaining family. Thinking of all the people he has lost, he resolves that no one else will die. This begins to disrupt Kana. Her human side struggles for control. Shu knows words won't be enough. He snaps his fingers and apologizes for what he is about to do. Tentacles suddenly seize Kana, a scene reminiscent of a cultured anime. Meanwhile, Ayano fires rocket launchers at her back, and Shu draws his sword, rushing forward to attack. Kana frees herself, soaring into the sky and summoning a magical spear. Shu follows and they clash violently, exchanging blows while he tries not to fall off his hovering board. Realizing he can't keep up, Shu retreats while Kana chases him, aiming her magic blasts. At the last moment, Sharon strikes with a tentacle attack, smashing her into a wall, and Ayano blasts her with a rocket. Kana fires again, but Shu intercepts, deflecting the blast with his sword. He dodges more attacks and rushes toward her, engaging in another fierce clash. This time, Kana overpowers him, pushing him away. Before she can finish him, she is shot from behind by Ayano and Sharon, which distracts her momentarily. Shu attempts to end the fight, but he cannot bring himself to attack her own sister. She kicks him into the ground and charges again, only for Sharon to intervene, blocking the attack. Kana tries to pursue, but an explosive from Ayano hits her, giving Shu a chance to counterattack. She deflects and throws him into a tree, then charges at Ayano, only to be blocked by Kisara, who pushes her back. Everyone watches in shock as the two demons engage in a brutal battle, striking, blocking, and countering. Kana fires energy beams at Kisara, blasting her away. Shu rushes to Kisara, instructing her to stab Kana's heart to immobilize and seal her. Kisara engages Kana, dodging attacks while Shu provides cover fire. She attacks, but Kana evades and flies upward, only to be kicked by Sharon and bombarded by the army. Falling to the ground, Kana, in anger, releases 3 demons from within her body that rush toward the city. Sharon and Ayano pursue the demons while Kisara and Shu focus on Kana. Shu kisses Kisara, releasing her latent powers, which she uses to engage Kana in an epic aerial battle. Shu instructs Kisara to bring Kana within range, then fires his anti-demon gun, causing Kana to fall. Kisara rushes forward and stabs her, ending the battle. Kana is taken into custody and sealed in the city's lowest chambers. Sharon returns to her post. Shu goes back to his apartment with Kisara and is delighted to find Kana in her human form, eating food. His final wish, to see his sister normal again, has been fulfilled. If you enjoyed this story, you'd love the tale of this idiot who becomes the new demon lord and saves his school from destruction.